Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Okay, let us see how this could be formed. Okay, again instead of just saying those in words, now we have to convert them into respective matrix form, so that we can utilize the similarities and the co-occurrences patterns that exist in a given corpus. So, in this case I have considered 3 documents. The first document is I love physics, second one is he hates math, third one is she loves biology. So, here we are going to be looking at the co-occurrences of word for each of the word that we are looking at. So, let me start with the first one. Okay. So, what I have done is I have listed all the words along the column, right, that is the column header now. And then if you look at the left side, you still have the same words on the first column, right here. Okay. So, now what I am going to do is I am going to be looking at the first word I and then see what is the next word to I. So, if you want to fill up this particular matrix, let me go back to the first one. So, I have I here. So, I and I do not co-occur, correct. So, what you have is 0 here. Okay. So, I am using only a binary representation. Okay. So, now I love physics. So, we have love following I. So, we have a 1 here. Okay. And then I and physics, right. So, they do not occur together. So, we have a 0 here. So, in this way I keep filling all the elements in the given matrix. Say he and I do not occur together, he and hates, it should be that is the second one. I am sorry, that is the second document. I have not yet finished the first one. So, let us take the second word love, okay, and then I and love occur together, love and love do not occur together. So, love, the next word for love is physics. So, there is a 1 here, and then love and he 0, hates, maths, these are all 0 because they do not co-occur, love and those words do not co-occur. So, in the same fashion physics, you love and physics you have, and then physics and physics do not occur together, and rest of them are all 0 because they do not co-occur, right. And then the next document he, so he and I, he and love, he and physics, they do not co-occur. So, you may ask this question, so you can use this, right, in terms of either. So, if you noticed I have love here and then love. So, I am not doing any stemming or lemmatization, I am just using them as one word. Okay. So, this is different and this is different. Okay. So, going back to the second document. So, there is nothing that occurs together between he and the first document. So, he and he 0, he and hates, they occur together, max no, again third document. Okay. So, again the second word in the second document, the co-occurrence word is this, another one is math, rest of them are all 0 because they do not occur together. Okay. And the third one, so we have maths and head, right. So, in the same way you keep filling them, okay, and you get a matrix of this. So, this is called a co-occurrence matrix. So, it is very similar to the binary incident matrix that you saw, the name is the same, but in this case instead of the document on this column earlier, we have the words. So, the words and then the co-occurrences of those words are plotted or picked up, and the values are filled in as 1 if they co-occur, otherwise the element is 0. I hope you understand this, right. So, now let us look at some interesting definitions. Earlier, I was just mentioning about 2 words, 3 words and so on, but there is a separate name for each of those. Unigram is something which is related to one word. So, if you are using a one word extraction, then it is a unigram extraction. So, we have been looking at unigram all throughout before this lecture. Now, we are going to be looking at 2 words together, 3 words together or n words together, and we call them as grams. Okay. If you use 2 words together, then it is called a bigram. Okay. If you use 3 words in a sequence, then it is called a trigram, or in general you can name this as n gram. So, we can call it as 1 gram is your unigram, 2 gram, 3 gram, 4 gram, etc. Okay. So, we will be using this term n gram throughout this lecture. Okay. So, how do you really create the input for us? So, the reason why we are doing this is we are going to be using those n grams as input for various NLP applications. So, we should be able to create those n grams as input and then remove whatever we do not need to really keep, and then use the rest of them for or as an input to either a neural network or any other NLP application. Okay. So, now let us look at force document, but I will be using only this particular document to construct our n grams. So, in this case I have 3 columns. The first column will be talking about or showing you the unigram, the second one will show you the bigrams, and third will show you the trigrams. For every sentence there is a start symbol. Okay. So, we will use that start symbol as our starting word. Okay. The starting word is not the first word that you see, but it is a starting symbol S, and then the ending symbol also we use this similar. Okay. So, let us look at these n grams one after the other. So, when you look at the 2 grams, so what we are going to be looking at is, so we will take a window of size 2. Okay. Consider this window, and you are going to take this window and then place it on top of the sentence. That means, this particular window is flexible enough so that it only shows you 2 words at a time. Okay. So, when you place it on this, let us say you are going to place it here, okay, or we are going to place it here, or we may place it like this. This is our window, and slide this window along the sentence one word at a time. Okay. So, I just move Peter Piper, first keep it on top of Peter Piper, and then move it so it becomes Piper and picked. Okay. Like this. So, it is flexible enough to fit only just 2 words when I use bigrams. In trigrams, what is going to happen is I am going to use 3 like this, it is a sliding window. So, when I place this window on top of this sentence, 3 words will appear within that window, and then I move to the next word, that means the next 3 words will be seen and so on. So, every time when I move I pick up my input words. Okay. Let us see how it is done. So, in this case of unigram, let me remove all this to remove the confusion. So, we use a starting symbol as I mentioned. The first one, let us look at only the unigram part, which is very well known to us. You go through that, you see it picking up only one word at a time and then it ends at papers, right. We have seen how unigram words are constructed and those could be used as input for some applications. Now, let us see how bigram words could be constructed. So, as I mentioned earlier, bigram will have a sliding window and it will show you just 2 words when you move that along the sentence. So, in the first case we have a starting symbol. So, it will start with the starting symbol and Peter, okay. And then we move the window to the next one, so that it falls on top of or it slides on top of Peter Piper. Okay. So, we get Peter Piper and then you move on to the next one, Piper and picked as the next 2 words or bigram, and then picked as the next bigram and so on. Okay. So, in this way you can complete the bigram operations. So, it is very, the trigram is very similar again. So, in this case, since we do not have when you want to place this, we want to include every word, right. So, I do not want to start like this. What is the most commonly used starting word of a particular corpus? You may want to get this particular starting symbol used, so that it is easy for you to get that particular word as the starting word. So, in this case I have 2 different starting symbols and then I start with, right, and now slide this 3 window along the okay. So, you keep getting those. I am sorry, it was the previous ones, let me remove that. Okay. So, Peter Piper picked the now my window is now here. Okay. So, now when you move the window to the next one, so you have right. So, you can slide that particular window in all the sentences, so that you capture all the trigrams of that sentence or trigrams of that document or trigrams of all the corpus. So, why do we need this? So, as I mentioned earlier, the co-occurrences of words are important for you to really understand the meaning of the word. So, in this case you can capture a bigram, trigram or fourgram depending on what would be your convenient size. Okay. As you move along the numbers, the more number that you traverse with respect to the window size, your accuracy would be better, but the complexity is going to be increasing.